Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Pick and Roll on today's show. Of course, on the Board NBA YouTube channel, which is the NBA content division of the Hammer Betting Network. Visit thehammer.bet for more sports betting content. But if you're here for the NBA stuff and want to remain here all throughout the weekdays when we go live on this channel, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Just hit 500 subscribers recently, pushing on 600 now. Eventually wanted to get to the 4 digits, 1,000. Also, make sure to smash that like button if you have been tailing the picks, enjoying the content that we have been providing you. And the picks so far this season, as we always do, let's recap what we saw from yesterday and talk about the season so far. So on the season, there's been a ton of success with Pips' picks, 66 and 45, plus 12.9 units, above 10% ROI. Very good to see. Yesterday's selections, however, will split, so we lose the VIG on the Marcus Smart play as he starts really well. And I think, Pips, it was foul trouble that really tanked this one.
Yeah, he had like a great first quarter, 9 points, 2 assists, and he came back into the second quarter. I think he had like 2 more points and then got into the foul trouble and played only 13 minutes first half, and he was on pace to play 18 minutes, which wasn't great. And then second half completely disappearing. I don't think I'd see entire game Marcus Smart to even run. He was just like walking around, a bit of jogging, and no energy, no effort. Yeah, nothing to do there. Like when he'll just get the ball, go to the backcourt, throw it to Jason Tatum, go to the corner, stand there, and if he gets even a wide open, he will pass it out. Like uninterested. Marcus Smart, and yeah, nothing to do about it.
And we go to the other play that we had. This one is a winner. Darius Garland, no sweat on the assist line. CJ McCollum, if you were following this game at halftime, this looked like it was going to be far from cashing, but a second half of some ridiculous play in the second half, rather, for CJ McCollum gets us over here. I'm sure you watched. What were your thoughts on CJ's performance in this one?
My thoughts that CJ played amazing, which people will probably be confused when he didn't have a great efficiency.
Yeah,
but if anyone was watching the game, Okoro defense was just out of the world, amazing. Like I'm like giving a huge like honor to CJ for being able to score 25 points with that kind of defense. Like,
fair enough.
man, I didn't expect Okoro to play that many minutes. I expected like he'll get 20 minutes, but he had almost 30 minutes, and man, like unbelievable great defense. Like that's all NBA kind of defense was like amazing. And yeah, CJ still got there most of the time when Okoro went to the bench. He like scored 4 points in the 8 minutes guarded by Okoro, and then next 3 minutes with LeVert and him, he will score like 10 points. So if there wasn't Okoro, I think we could see like we will see like 40 points from CJ.
Yeah. Interesting. A rare shout out for Isaac Okoro on the show. So we'll take it. Hey, we take it on the win there. Isaac Okoro.
He had an amazing game, like overall. Like So yeah,
Isaac
interesting.
Okoro, finally, will kind of feature a little bit into our discussion for today's show. I pitched this one to Pips about an hour ago. Wanted to do a top 3 redraft from the 2020 NBA draft. I've seen conversations online about this with 3 players really rising above the rest in this draft. Maybe like 3.5, you could say a fourth one involved. One of them, though, not Isaac Okoro, who was drafted 5th overall by Cleveland. And just going through this draft list from 2020, like every time I look at a full draft list, it is so hard for teams to draft players. This is why like the decentivization of tanking is kind of here, because it's so hard to really strike gold in these drafts. Like there's guys in the top 10 like Jalen Smith, Obi Toppin, Killian Hayes, Isaac Okoro, Patrick Williams goes 4. Like, Williams is a good player. There's some good players there. But, in terms of changing your franchise, this is why there's such a decentivized amount of tanking in the NBA. And I think that I'm starting to really turn on the play-in tournament in positive light, because the play-in tournament kind of makes teams, it gives a little bit more incentive to the season because drafting is so hard. But 3 teams, maybe 4, really got this one right. I think this should be a conversation centered around Edwards,
Five,
Ball,
five.
Haliburton, Maxey, who's your 5th? Desmond Bane?
Yeah, of course. Like
Okay.
he's up there for sure.
I think, yeah, okay. That's fair enough. There's 5, but I think there's 3 that separated the top. But I would love to hear your top 3. Actually, you know what? Let's go your top 5 since you brought it up. Let's go your top 5.
Yeah,
If you're in the
top
chat right
five.
now, let's do your top 3.
Top 3 is a bit difficult, but top 5 is like clear as the day. Like I don't think anyone
Yes.
can disagree on top 5. Like that's that's for sure. Like
That's the 5.
the 5, yeah, it's LaMelo Ball, it's Anthony Edwards, it's Tyrese
Haliburton.
Haliburton, Maxey, and Bane. Like that's like far above everyone else
Yeah, I'm
for
looking
me.
like who would be 6th? Probably Vassell, but it's
Yeah,
probably
but for sure
separation
that's
there.
what's so. And when we are talking about this draft, I need to mention Killian Hayes balling the hell out the last couple of weeks. Like, I will never think of saying that because the first couple of weeks of the season, I was like, okay, this was the last chance, and this guy is completely not an NBA player. But if you take a look at the last like two months, he's actually playing some great ball. Like he's like 13 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. And shooting is finally like over the last 10 games, he's shooting 46% from the field and 37% from 3. Like he's like getting better every week. And I was watching him, and he was like a really good player now, which is a huge surprise after watching him last 2 seasons. Like he was terrible,
He
and
was almost out
terrible
of the
is
league.
like terrible was also understatement how bad this guy was. And yeah, Cade being out, he got the minute, and he's certainly using it.
He was
You're right.
literally almost out of the league. Like it's impressive what he's doing right now for sure.
Yeah.
So
And if you talk about top 5 guys, I will immediately throw Desmond Bay out because he's 24 and the other guys are 21, 22. So like
fair.
I have a problem to put these 4 guys in top 3 because I don't know which player will be fourth because they are all similar and great.
Mm-hmm. I
But
yeah. Go
I'd
ahead.
love to hear your top 3.
Okay. So Maxey's a great player. He's close. He doesn't make my top 3. In terms of it's obviously, so just to preface this, it's very difficult to grade guys because they're only in their 3rd years here. Sometimes the team dynamic is different because like Halliburton's playing, he's making his team better, but he's playing with a team that suits him really well. Whereas LaMelo Ball, his numbers are a little bit inflated because he has to shoot the ball a ton because the Charlotte Hornets were bad last year and got even worse this year. So his efficiency is low, but it's clear he can score the ball, pass the ball really well. I think, man, this is tough. They could all be number 1 on the list. Edwards, I think in terms of like being a scorer, a focal point of your offensive scoring, he could be number 1. LaMelo Ball, his passing is there, his shooting is there. He can score. He can manipulate offenses in so many different ways and manipulate the opposition defense in so many ways. Haliburton is just an elite passer, but he's also scoring extremely well so far in his career. So if I had to pick, I probably go Haliburton number one. I could easily go any of them number one. LaMelo Ball, I think his defense just takes me a little bit off him going one. So I'll slide him into two. And I think Edwards has the potential to rise as the best player. And I put him number three. But I could easily, you could easily convince me the opposite of the order that I just gave you guys. The separation of this list is ridiculous. But I comfortably can put Maxey 4 and Bane at 5. What do you think?
I'm completely fine with Bane at 5, but I don't think he's the fifth worst player on this list. But only considering the age and the improvement.
Yeah,
and
for
everything,
redraft, for the redraft.
Yeah. This is so difficult because I could have LaMelo Ball as first and I could have him as the fourth, and either thing wouldn't be wrong, which is quite amazing. But I will just say, if he had Tyrese Maxey on Charlotte team, or on Indiana Pacers team, or on Minnesota Timberwolves team, we will see 26 to 27 points a game, easily, and that tops
That's,
this.
you know what? That's fair.
Because when we saw Tyrese Maxey without Joel Embiid, he was scoring 40 points. I think you can remember that game against the Raptors. I never saw that from any of these other guys.
I can remember that game. Yes.
Yeah, and I think out of all of these guys, Tyrese Maxey is playing in a team that, okay, he'll learn, he'll improve, but doesn't suit him at all.
That's a good point.
Playing with, he's always playing way better when he can run his pace and play without Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid, they request very slow pace. 76ers are playing one of the slowest pace in the league. That's because of Joel Embiid. And whenever you have Tyrese Maxey without Embiid, he's just way, way, way better, and way, way more scoring and everything, and runs the game. So it's difficult to put Maxey at the fourth spot for me.
Yeah. You kind of brought it back on me a bit.
If I compare Maxey and Edwards, I will go with Maxey probably. And
interesting.
Yeah, and if we take a look at Haliburton and LaMelo, damn, that difficult. That's difficult. And
yeah,
I think right now, looking at these seasons, I'll probably need to go with Tyrese, but I think LaMelo has a better. I don't know. It's.
I think LaMelo has a higher ceiling.
I think LaMelo has a way more space to improve.
A higher ceiling.
Yeah, I think that he has a higher ceiling, and I think Maxey is the best scorer of all of these four guys.
Yeah, you really sold me on Maxey a little bit there. I don't know if it's enough to put him above Edwards, but you're right. There's considerations that Maxey should be the sixth man on the 76ers. They should start Melton with Harden just to give Maxey a little bit more of the reins. But yeah, if as well as Harden's playing this season, his passing has been otherworldly this season. The Sixers are just stacked right now. If Maxey was in anybody else's shoes here, he'd be putting up some crazy numbers as well. So I don't think I can discard him out of the top three as I did. It's a lot closer than I guess I made it out to be. But somebody says at least you're not going with Wiseman at all involved there. That's unfortunate. And what will haunt me about Desmond Bane is that the Raptors had the 29th pick. Desmond Bane goes 30th. So
yeah,
and we take Malachi Flynn there. That's always a haunting one for me as well,
yeah,
unfortunately.
I think that's the biggest problem with the draft, because the teams aren't looking at the best talent, but the guy that will suit them or the position they are missing. Obviously, Raptors were having ton of good wings, and
they needed a point guard.
Yeah, you need a point guard, and then that's just not. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't even I wasn't familiar with Malachi Flynn game before the draft, so I wasn't even aware of Desmond Bain, Desmond Bain, Desmond Bain. After Maxey went like to the Sixers, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Desmond Bain is the next. Desmond Bain is the next. And then you have like six players between Maxey and Desmond Bain. Like, I like it's like okay, we can always talk like how we were big on some guy like after the draft and everything. But I was like, okay, Desmond Bain can shoot. He's strong guy. He can hold his own on defense and 3 and D guys. I'm like the biggest on 3 and D guys you can be in the NBA. Like you always need a 3 and D guy. Like whatever team you are, you always need a 3 and D guy. Like that's that's my core role player to win a championship. Like
Yeah.
you just can't win the championship without
It,
3 and D guy for me.
so
And so many things passing on him was like, damn.
So I for my YouTube channel, which is listed below, I do a lot of draft coverage. So for the Raptors in that draft, Malachi Flynn was very high on my list. I'll say that. And he was the highest on my list at 29. Desmond Bain was not as high as Malachi Flynn, and he also was not as high as Trey Jones. I was kind of looking at fit a little bit, but Malachi Flynn had a lot of skills that the Raptors could really utilize. They just haven't really translated over to any degree of consistency whatsoever to the NBA level. So the pick in terms of, it's easy to look in hindsight, but at the time, the pick to me made a lot of sense, having studied his game quite a bit and studied everybody in that area's game for quite a while. It just sometimes it doesn't pan out in the NBA for whatever reason. Like, James Wiseman going number 2. Like, it's crazy. This guy could be out of the league by the end of the year, but he goes second overall. So in hindsight, easy to look at that. It will kind of haunt me still, but I understand the Raptors going for Flynn in that area. It just, like I said, it kind of stings at this point. I just want to quickly look at other people's list. So this one, Haliburton first, Edwards, LaMelo, Bain, Maxey. So Maxey 5th year, and Maxey also 5th on this list. I wonder if they kind of changed their mind like I did a little bit after you went through it. But Haliburton seems like the overwhelming number 1 guy at this point. Trey Jones also, by the way, was a 2nd-round steal as well. He's having a bit of a breakout year with the Spurs, but everybody's consistently going Haliburton.
I think Haliburton. I love Haliburton. He's one of my favorite players, and I was huge on him on draft. I talk about him.
We talked about the teams that passed.
I think he's getting a bit overrated now. With everyone just talking about like he's an all-star, like starter. I mean, he's a great player, and I love him. And he
want to be all-star.
Yeah, I mean, love him. One of my favorite players on the draft night and later and everything. But yeah, that's not.
We spoke. Okay, would you say you take him number 1 still if you had to make a number 1 pick here?
Them, man, like probably at the moment, yeah, but ceiling probably
LaMelo.
not even. Ceiling, he's probably 4th for me. Like.
Interesting.
For ceiling, I will have like LaMelo, Edwards, Maxey and Haliburton tied at 3rd. I would say like.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you look at it from a ceiling spot, I think LaMelo's got the most room to grow, as you mentioned. So, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these players at the end of the day. Whoever the Minnesota to Charlotte to Sacramento briefly, and to the Sixers who got their guys there. Huge credit to the scouting teams for getting those ones right. But Sacramento lost the guy in a trade that looks good right now, but may not look good in a few years down the line. All right. That was interesting. Good discussion there. With that, let's move now into our official pick segment of the show. And we're hoping to follow up yesterday's 1-1 day with a 2-0 day as there's 2 official picks. The first one involving James Harden, maybe taking away a little bit of the spotlight from Maxey, but I'd say for good reason. James Harden on the assist to the big man, Joel Embiid, over here on the first play.
So we are combining very correlated play, which is James Harden over 8.5 assists with Embiid over 29.5 points, which is minus 105 at DraftKings. So this one is, I think, pretty simple. I don't need, like, the last game they played against the Clippers was like 3 weeks ago, and Embiid had 44 points and Harden had 21 assists. So why is that? Because LA Clippers are played like drop coverage with Zubats without even worrying about Joel Embiid taking mid range or why mid range. He was guarding him like he's Russell Westbrook, leaving him a ton of space to shoot and like praying, okay, we can live with Embiid shooting, but we don't want him inside, freeze scoring and going to the line. So with that said, like I think this is also controversial statement, but I think James Harden probably has the best pocket pass in the history of the NBA. Like that's just amazing. Like
What do
how
you mean?
easily he
Sorry,
manipulates.
what do you mean by pocket pass? Like getting it into a guy's pocket or from
No,
his?
it's like when you start a pick and roll and you have like Embiid and James Harden, and he will just throw it like
Oh,
diagonal pass,
yeah,
like
yeah,
pocket pass. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think he's probably, if not the best, probably one of the best, like top five ever with pocket pass, and that's great against the drop coverage defense because like when he starts the pick and roll and Embiid will just pop out a bit, not to the 3 point line, but like to the free throw line. And then Harden just hits him with pocket pass, and Embiid has a wide open mid range at free throws line, which is he's shooting close to 50% of the season on like 300 or more attempts. And yeah, the last game they were just spamming it, and that's why James Harden had 21 assists because it was so easy. Like they didn't change anything. Like they only had like probably Paul George guarding James Harden, and pick and rolls he will help on the driver, like on the ball handler. So it's not like he's staying to the Embiid to protect him catching the ball, but he is helping on the driver, and Zubac is pulling out. So Embiid is staying wide open. Like every pick and roll they run, Embiid stayed wide open. And if they decided to go with that, I think if they do the same thing tonight, this should be easy. And not only considering that, but it can look like the numbers. Harden had 8 or more assists in 18 straight games, and he had 11 or more assists in 6 straight games. Like Harden is like balling like so under the radar this season. I don't know if you had a chance to check his numbers lately, but he's having one of the most efficient seasons of his career, which
Yep.
is absurd. Like he's shooting 39% from the three. He has like 61% from the 61% true shooting, which is obviously not the greatest efficiency, but scoring wise, like field goal attempts and 3 point attempts are amazing. And 22, 6, and 11 is like someone's like that's not like 99% in the history of the NBA of the players didn't have that in prime. Like, and you have like washed James Harden doing that.
Washed.
Yeah,
I,
washed. Yeah,
all right. I
it's
don't always washed. I know you. Well, I know like you're just people are saying he's washed. He's just turned into a different player. I know you like James Harden. Interesting
that's my
stat.
favorite player.
Yeah, interesting stat. Halliburton leads the league in assists, but assists to points created, Halliburton is second to James Harden. So James Harden's assists create 29 points per game.
I
Or
don't. I think you need to check again uh, the stats on the assist. Do you think total assist or what?
this
Because
is the
Harden
assist to.
is at Harden is at 11.2 assists a game, and Haliburton is at 10.2 assists a game.
Oh, did
So
Harden pass him in a total assist?
yeah, I just said like he had 6 straight games with 11 or more assists, like and including 20. He had 18 straight games with 8 or more assists. Like Harden is just killing it from the
Oh,
assist side. Yeah,
he okay, yeah. They had sorry, I was on basketball reference with Halliburton. They had his assist number highlighted to suggest that was the highest in the league.
yeah.
So Harden's at 11.2 assists, which is one full assist higher than Halliburton. And his assist to points created is 1.8 higher than Halliburton. So Harden's Harden's not washed. He's just a different player now. And I think it's a
Uh,
testament to how good he is that he's lost a lot of his athleticism. Like the first step is gone, yet he's still this effective as a basketball player. because he's got the IQ.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So
And that's for the first bet. And also Embiid part, he had 30 plus points in 5 straight games and in 9 out of the last 10. And if you look at this matchup, this is great spot for both of these guys.
all right. There's some questions in the chat. A lot of people already have straight Harden bets. A lot of people already have straight Embiid bets. If you had to play one side of this just on its own, would you consider doing that for either of these, either side? So
I,
it would be
I
Harden.
like I like both of these guys on their like regular lines.
Mhm.
So I'll just think we can do this a 1.5 unit bet when I think more about it, because I didn't want to bet two separate guys. But if they are getting minus 105, betting 1.5 unit will just result in like risking 1.58, which is I'm okay with that because I actually like both of these guys on their regular lines. So we have 1.5 unit bet
Okay,
right
so
now.
going for 1.5 units on this one. Somebody's also mentioned that it's plus 100 on MGM. So even
Yeah,
more
MGM.
reason.
Yeah, MGM didn't have it open before the show, so it opened probably like a couple of minutes ago.
Perfect. So even more reason to go for 1.5 units for the people that are looking to just play one side of this because they already have a bet down. I mean, you could consider just doing a half unit on this. You could consider going for James Harden assists, which is plus 100 at BetMGM, which is very good price relative to market. And for Joel Embiid points on their own, you can look at MGM as well, which is minus 115. Oh, sorry, that's 32.5. For 31.5, I'm trying to find the best. Not great for prices there. So maybe stick to the Harden one, just kind of scanning around. But
Yeah,
with that,
yeah.
sorry.
Embiid was 31.5 like entire night, and people smashed overnight.
So yeah.
And I wake up to the juiced line, so decided to go to the same game parlay. But if Embiid line wasn't juiced, I will probably go with both of them on their regular lines.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we like to play. Pips likes to play a lot. Going again, 1.5 units for this one. Let's move into the second one. The second one, also same game parlay. Blazers Nuggets. This matchup always seems to produce some really good games. Hoping for a high scoring one with the two guards as the focus.
So I'm going with Damian Lillard over 24.5 points and Jamal Murray over 16.5 points, which is minus 120 at DraftKings. Damian is just like, I don't know, when the All Star is game coming close every season, like he just starts to bowling. And if you take a look at the last couple of games, he had 34, 30, 50, 36, and 40 in the last 5 games, which is probably like an average of 30, I don't know, like 37 points a game, which is probably amazing. And if you take a look at the games against the Denver, he's bowling like always, like 31 points in the first game, 40 points in the second game, and third game was a blowout, and he scored 34. And the reason I'm not betting his is because his line is like 31.5, which is like crazy, and he has 28.5 points average on the season. So this is very inflated line. Even though I loved the spot for him, but I just decided to go with this line combined with Jamal Murray over 16.5 points. And Jamal Murray finally has like very efficient. Like if you take a look at his numbers scoring wise, he is 44.6% field goal on the career, and he's 44.6% this season. So he finally got to his career
Yeah.
average,
Yeah.
and he's actually shooting better from three. And over the last like 10 games, he's shooting like 45% from three. So he's finally getting there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's finally in his, I think, not prime form, but close to it. And like the first 2 games, Portland and Dallas, or I think even maybe first three, we had a single coverage on Doncic, and he was killing them. And the last game, even though Doncic is a great passer, they went and double teamed him like crazy. Even though they didn't do it like in the first 2 or 3 games, so I was pretty scared of betting Jokic over in this game because I don't know what to Portland do. Like they usually don't double team him, but if they do, I love Jamal Murray spot way better in that case. And Jamal Murray last two games against the Portland had 21 point and 25 points, even though they decided to not double team Nikola Jokic, but they were playing a ton of like 2-on-2 games because they are not double teaming. They just played Jamal Murray and Jokic pick and roll, pick and pop a ton. And if they do the same thing and they pay more attention the last couple of games to Jokic, Jamal Murray will probably have pretty good game. And yeah, over the last couple of games, he's clearing this line easily when he gets the minutes. And last two games, he played 39 minutes in both of the last two games. So he's getting the minutes, and we have Highland questionable for this game. I think the Highland is questionable. Just a moment. Yes, the Bones Highland is questionable. So if Bones Highland is out, Jamal Murray will probably again to like 38 to 40 minutes tonight. And with those minutes and his efficiency being up lately, I think I think combo guard with Simons and Lillard is probably the worst defensive backcourt in the entire league. Yeah. So I just think this is a great spot for Jamal Murray, and obviously Damian Lillard is killing this line over the last couple of weeks. So great spot.
Yeah, sometimes Dame just flips the switch and he decides that he's taken over the season.
He's unguardable and he's aggressive.
And right now the Blazers in a bad stretch. Lillard probably taking that as he's got to do more, and he's clearly doing more right now.
The one thing I'll just say about Damian Lillard, for the first time I think in his career, is like decided to, okay, I will go to the free throw line. Because like if you take a look at his numbers, over the last 4 games, he had like 12, 15, 10, and 16 free throw attempts. Like that's not something we saw from Damian Lillard over the last couple of years. And if you take a look at the games against the Nuggets, he had 8, 7, and 10 free throws. So if he gets to the free throw line with his efficient shooting from 3, he could just murder this line.
Yeah. Let's hope for that. And on the other side of that, Jamal Murray still working his way back to 100% after that injury. But like you said, he's getting there. Seems to really be finding his feet. Let's go to the recap of the picks. First of all, a 1.5 unit play on James Harden over 8.5 assists and Joel Embiid over 29.5 points, minus 105 at DraftKings on that one. We had word that it opened at plus 100 at BetMGM. If it is still there, you can choose to find that. But 1.5 units for that one. Second play is in the Blazers-Nuggets game that we just spoke about. Damian Lillard over 24.5 points paired with Jamal Murray over 16.5 points. That is minus 120 at DraftKings. And that will wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into the show. Pick and Roll on the Board NBA YouTube channel. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you drop a like to show your extra support. Help us get them some more recommended pages. If you're listening to it in podcast form, rate and review 5 stars to show your support. And for more sports betting content, visit thehammer.bet. In the middle of NFL playoffs, tons of great content over there on our website, thehammer.bet. Type it in your browser. And from myself and Pips, let's hope these picks cash, and we'll see you tomorrow for more from Pick and Roll.